Hello and welcome back to this next video. Today I'm reviewing the Invictor Tactical Warsuit for Space Marines. This is similar to a Dreadnought and it's an elite's choice. It's got quite a few weapons on it and it can be strong in shooting and melee. Today I'll go over what it can do and some strategies and synergies for it. If you enjoy these, please subscribe and maybe like the video as well. Now the Invictor Warsuit has a stat line very similar to the Redemptor Dreadnought. It's got a movement of 10, 3+ weapon skill and ballistic skill, strength 7, toughness 6, 13 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership of 8 and a 3-up save. It does degrade, so at 6 wounds it'll go down to 8-inch movement and 4-up ballistic skill and weapon skill, and at 3 wounds it'll go down to 6-inch movement and 5-up ballistic skill and weapons skill. Overall, it's got pretty good anti-infantry firepower. I'll go over all of the different weapons in a minute, and it's decent against vehicles in melee. However, the best thing about the Invictor Warsuit is it's got a free deep strike deployment ability. This is the same as the ability that things like infiltrators and incursors have, where it can be set up anywhere on the board that's not within 9 inches of any enemy models or the enemy deployment zone. Now obviously this is hugely useful because you could be getting first turn charges out of this, and it's got a pretty powerful melee weapon. Another thing that could be useful for it is the fact that infiltrators and other Phobos infantry units, they don't really have much in the form of anti-vehicle firepower, so this can really help them pack a greater punch. Now I'll get into the different weapons that you can give the Invictor. On its right arm, you'll see that in this photo there are a big flamer and some autocannons. I'll go over what they can do in a minute, but first I'll go over the standard weapons, as all of these come with it and you can only change between the autocannons and the incendium cannon. First of all, I'll go over its Invictor Fist. Now, I talked about how the Warsuit had 4 attacks and was strength 7. These don't degrade, however its weapon skill does, going down from 3+ to 4+ to 5+. It's strength times 2, -3 AP and a flat 3 damage, making it fairly effective against vehicles and especially against bikers and lighter units such as attack bikes or invader ATVs. Flat 3 damage is useful as well because it'll be able to one-shot most kinds of Terminator and other 3-wound heavy infantry. With this being strength 14 as well, it'll be able to easily take down weaker vehicles, and although it might not destroy them in a single round, it'll certainly do quite a lot of damage. Next is the heavy bolter, and you can see it's holding it like a pistol. Now this doesn't change how the heavy bolter functions. It's still a 36-inch range, heavy 3, strength 5, -1 AP and a flat 2 damage. However, when you're within 1 inch of an enemy unit, you can change the heavy bolter's type to pistol 3. This means you won't be suffering the penalty to hit, but it's still pretty useful. It's also equipped with a Fragstorm grenade launcher and a twin Iron Hail heavy stubber. The Fragstorm grenade launcher is an 18-inch range, strength 4, no AP and 1 damage, heavy D6 blast weapon. So it's the only one that you can't fire in close combat, but it's not that bad. Next there's the twin Iron Hail heavy stubbers, which is heavy 8, strength 4, -1 AP and 1 damage. 36-inch range, this is probably the best anti-infantry weapon on the Warsuit. Now, as I was talking about before, the only customization you can have on this is between the twin Iron Hail autocannons and the incendium cannon. The incendium cannon is a 12-inch range, heavy 2d6, strength 5, -1 AP and 1 damage weapon. It's basically a twin heavy flamer, as it automatically hits, and you can swap this out for a twin Iron Hail autocannon, which is a 48-inch range, heavy 6, strength 7, -1 AP and 2 damage. Of these, there are definitely uses for both of them. However, how you're playing the Warsuit might determine what you do with it. For example, if you're sitting on an objective, you might want the Incendium cannon to make charges harder if you fire Overwatch. So I was just talking about what weapons you can equip this with, and my personal choice would 90% of the time be the autocannons. I think they're better overall, and they've got the same potential damage. However, I think with the autocannons' increased strength, they might be more likely to damage things, especially heavy vehicles. The reason I take this is because I see the Invictor Warsuit as something to provide fire support to all of the Phobos units in your army that you might have used concealed positions to deploy. On the subject of concealed positions, something I'd consider doing with this would be to put it as close as you can to the enemy deployment zone, where if they've deployed a pretty scary unit, something with a massive gun like a Vindicator, I might consider using concealed positions to place my Invictor Warsuit there to get a first turn charge. This will mean that you might be able to destroy it in the first round of combat if you're lucky, and you'll be able to lock it up in melee for at least one turn, giving your army vital time to either shoot it down or get into cover. Some of the keywords on this thing just include vehicle and Invictor Warsuit. This means that the only real buffs to hit rolls and stuff you'll be getting will be from characters like Gulliman, who gives rerolls to hit for any Imperium units. I think because this doesn't have any keywords like Dreadnought or Core, you won't want to be putting it next to a captain because there's just no point. I think this does work better at a longer range, kind of sitting around on its own, because with the long range weapons it can do that pretty effectively. So I thought quite a lot about what score to give this, and eventually I went for 6.5 out of 10. I think it's got some very useful things, such as the deployment ability, meaning it can just set up anywhere on the board pretty much. But just with the lack of keywords, I don't think it's that good. It does fill a niche, but there are better options if you're just using it as a fire support unit. The most obvious one is the Redemptor Dreadnought, and this is based on the chassis of the Redemptor Dreadnought in the lore. And that just has a better melee weapon, better shooting weapons with the Macroplasma Incinerator. It's got better anti-infantry weapons. And I think overall I'd usually take a Redemptor over this. It still has its uses though, and obviously I'll be leaving links to buy them down in the description. So if you enjoyed this video then please like it, and if you'd consider subscribing that would be great. When I get to 50 subscribers I'll show everyone what my Space Marine army looks like and do an army showcase. Thanks for watching and see you next time.